Okay, pronouns and how they are annoying sometimes when people use them a lot and just how they're using them. Okay. Yeah, I didn't, so, there I go with the so again. I noticed, see, I gotta stop myself when I think I'm about to say the word so. I gotta say something else. It's like saying I remember I remember back in school when the teacher would try to discourage people from saying because you're trying to think about what to say next, I guess. I think so is kind of similar to that. You're pausing in your thought process. Anyway, kind of like anyway. Anyway does that too. Yeah. All right. I noticed that in nonfiction, this is what I'm about to talk about with the pronouns in the grammar. It happens in nonfiction mostly. I suppose it's possible that this issue with the pronouns being annoying, I suppose it is possible, and it may happen sometimes in fiction, which I think maybe that's part of the reason why I didn't notice it until recently. Because for most of my reading, I tend to like to read. I enjoy reading fiction more, but sometimes it's nice to read nonfiction to be educated on certain topics. But I had these nonfiction, mostly nonfiction books here. There's one that has a lot of fiction in it, but there's some nonfiction introductions, and there's some fiction in here, but there's a lot of nonfiction in here too. But this is pretty much all. Yeah, this is all nonfiction. Okay, so I mostly enjoyed reading fiction. So I mostly enjoyed reading fiction. Uh, but so I got there I go. So I got these books a long time ago when I went to a university, and which I was only there for a year and a half. Wasn't there for very long, but I had these books for like is another one that people say a lot sometimes. I had these books because I had to pay for them for classes. I didn't buy these because I wanted to read them. I bought these books, which were probably expensive, probably overpriced. This one's used. Sometimes they're used in there. You get them at the bookstore, the university. I bought these not because I wanted to read them. I bought these because I had to read them for a class. So that's why I have them. But I had these for I guess about 20 years. Yeah, before I finally read them. I'm glad I finally read them, but they were very. I was found myself very irritated with because of the pronoun issue that I'm going to be talking about with the grammar. Okay. This shouldn't take too long because I don't have very many notes for it. It's just one side here and one side here. I got stuff on the other side for something else, and the other side's blank. All right. Pronouns and how they can be annoying. There's at least one of these that isn't technically a pronoun. I thought it was, but it's kind of similar to pronouns. But I have a bunch of words here, and I'm going to. Some of these are the words that annoy me because of how I've noticed people using them in books, and sometimes I'm hearing sometimes people say these. It's not just reading. Sometimes people actually will say this out loud, which also annoys me. But mostly it's something I've noticed while reading nonfiction. Okay, with these words. And I have the examples of these words that annoy me, and also some alternatives. Okay, so these words are related to gender. That's where the issue comes in for me. Mostly gender. Okay, and then alternatives, which I think ways I think that this issue could be fixed if people just use these other words instead. All right, and then I'm going to be going through the dictionary definitions of some of these words. I think it's interesting because it helps to explain why some of these words are being used. Oh, okay. Well, should I go in order? It's kind of all over the place with my notes here. I guess it would be simplest just to go in order. Well, how about if I start with it? Because it's different. It's not with the gender. All right. It. Yeah, that's a separate issue, but it's pronoun related. I got bookmarks in here, so it shouldn't take too long to get to the words here. It. Yeah, here we go. Here is my dictionary. Is that upside down? Yeah. New Oxford American Dictionary, 3rd edition. All right. The word it, which reminds me of Stephen King's It. I read the book a long time ago. It took a very long time to read it. Very big book. Very disturbing and scary book. Good miniseries. Good couple movies that they did. Also, check it out. It. All right. So the word it. It is on one of these. There it is. I found it. Okay. It. All right. Yeah, it's a pronoun. Okay. 3rd person singular. used to refer to a thing previously mentioned or easily identified. A thing. And referring, okay, this is what my issue with it, with the word. Referring to an animal or child of unspecified sex. Referring to an animal or child of unspecified sex. And they give an example here. She was holding the baby, cradling it, and smiling into its face. This is something, in both cases, I have done for most of my life, referring to animals and babies as its. I don't know, at what point did humanity decide to do this? Because all I have to do is look back to the previous explanation of the word, used to refer to a thing. I suppose when they say thing, they mean previously mentioned. Maybe they mean the subject. But just the word thing, a thing is an inanimate object. Yeah. In this case, okay, so if they're used to refer to a thing previously mentioned, which could be like a subject, that doesn't apply to. Yeah. Used to refer to a thing previously mentioned. I feel like that could because the example they give, let's see what their example is. A room with 2 beds in it. Well, no, in it. That's referring to the room. This approach is refreshing because it breaks down barriers. Well, that's referring to the approach. Okay. But when I think of the word, maybe they didn't. I feel like they could have said more in this definition for the word it. This is enough, or the end. This is it. The expected event is about to happen. This is it. Oh, those are phrases. When I think of the word it, I think of an object, a thing, something that is not alive. Something that is not alive. Okay. It's interesting to think about at what point in humanity did we decide we are going to refer to animals as its, and also babies, when you don't know the gender, as an it. Babies are its. It's a baby. No, the baby. Cradling it, the baby, smiling into its face. Yeah. Okay. At what point in humanity did we decide, if we don't know the gender of a baby, we're going to call that baby an it? When did we decide that? Which I think is interesting. It's not surprising, though, that humanity, for a long time, and still are doing it, referring to animals as its, because they are treated as products, cut up and eaten, and using their breast milk. It's all really disgusting. I don't know. It seems, I don't know why most of humanity still thinks it's just wonderful to keep using animals like this. So most of humanity is still treating animals, a lot of them, as objects. So it's not surprising that that people would be referring to animals as its or something. I've done that for a long time through habit. I've done the calling babies its and animals its for a long time because of habit and probably through education and probably being taught that way in school, and also from observation of other people in conversation. I've had to stop myself because I was aware of it. I wanted to stop doing that. I wanted to stop referring to animals as its and babies as its also. I don't talk about babies that much anymore. I'm not really around them. But it seems to me that the way to avoid calling a baby it when you don't know the specific gender of that baby, why don't you just call the baby a baby? You can arrange your sentence, whether in writing or in communication. You should be able to arrange your sentence in a way that you are not referring to the baby as an it. If you don't know the gender of the baby, find out. And the baby is a human, and after the baby's been born, they most likely have gotten a name. The parents have named that baby. You don't need to refer to the baby as an it, because the baby, you can either find out the gender. Is this baby, or you can say the baby. Is this baby, that sounds funny, is this baby a boy or a girl? And then you know the gender. You can say boy or girl. Or you, because the baby is probably around their parent, ask the parent, "Oh, what is your baby's name?" You don't say, instead of saying, what is its name? What is its name? It just sounds better to say, what's your baby's name? And then when you know the baby's name, you can use their name and not call them an it. Just something I've been thinking about. So, okay, and with the animals, especially like most cases when you see a wild animal like a squirrel, you see this cute squirrels a lot, or a bunny, or birds, you don't know their gender unless you're really good at identifying like the colorings of some animals. Sometimes I suppose you can tell the genders of some animals. I think it's with birds, maybe with cardinals is maybe an example, where some gender of animals, they have different colorings. But I think for the most part, like if you see if you see a wild animal, I think deers are another one with the horns, antlers. sometimes you can tell, sometimes, but most of the time, I think, in my experience, most of the time, I can't tell what a wild animal, I can't tell if they are a male or female wild animal, like a squirrel, for example. But that doesn't, so I don't want to call them an it. I don't want to say that I don't want to refer to that animal as an it. So I had to stop myself recently because I noticed I was doing that, and for a long time I wanted to stop. Because for me, an it is it's kind of it's a, I guess, objectifying. It makes what you're it makes the animal that you're referring to sound less important, like they don't, like they're not alive, really. They're an it, which reminds me of the movie The Goonies. I believe they referred to Sloth, that character Sloth in there, as an it. For me, it just bothers me because when I hear the word it, I feel like an it is an inanimate object, some, like a thing. An it is a thing, basically. Okay, so that maybe it helps to be vegan, just because a lot of people aren't. Because a lot of people just see animals as just, well, they're not humans, so they're not important. They don't like they feel like they don't deserve respect. A lot of people, most people, because they're eating them. They don't really care about animals. Most people. They say they do, but they don't. They care about some of them. They care about pet animals, but they don't care about the ones they're eating. Anyway, that's another topic. But it's related to the word it, why it bugs me. I noticed that, I think it was Facebook, where people were they would put up images of various animals, and they would say, the words to the image of the animal would say, I am a someone. And I was, at first, it kind of bothers me to mention it, but at first I was resistant to it. But I guess it was because of just through being trained, like human superiority being trained into me. Because when I hear the word someone, because they wanted to make the point that animals are someone, not something, which is what most of humanity refers to animals. They call them something. I was resistant to people using someone to refer to animals, because in my brain I just associated someone as human. Someone equals human. When I hear someone, well, that means human, and that's it. So that was stuck in my brain. This, I guess, through conditioning. But I'm glad that I don't feel like that's appropriate anymore. Because when you break the word down, something, that should not apply to a living creature. A squirrel is not a something. They are a someone. So I found that I thought that was interesting. Mention. I've heard that in debates with maybe Earthling Ed, but on YouTube. But yeah, Earthling Ed, maybe Joey Carbstrong also, when they were debating people on the street, and when they would refer to animals, they would the the person on the street would refer to animals as something, and then it was probably Earthling Ed, but maybe Joey Carbstrong would correct them and say that, well, they're not a something, are they? They are a someone. Okay, so that's good to be aware of that. Uh, I have one in my. Maybe I should go to. It is kind of late though. I wanted to stop by now. Maybe I'll get to that next time. There's more I could. I've already talked a lot about this, but the next, maybe I'll, maybe next time I'll talk about the word one, because it's related to the word it, like what I was talking about with animals and babies. Because of the dilemma, well, I don't know their gender, so I'm just going to refer to them as an it. Yeah. All right, I gotta stop. Wow, this is a long video. I thought this wouldn't take very long, but I haven't even really talked about much yet on my notes. There's still, I only talked about what, one word. All right.